What's good, YouTube family? It's your boy S.Craft Blends back again with another barber tutorial, and today we're going to do a beautiful low fade, and I believe this is a really easy way to do it. So first we are creating our first guideline with an open blade, and I'm using my 1919s with the modified bracket on there. So I have the Auster fast feed blade on there on my 1919s, Wall Senior 1919s. And now we're closing that blade halfway, dropping a little bit lower than our initial guideline, and we're just going to kind of blend into that. Now I'm closing it, we're dropping a little bit lower, and we're just going to blend right into what we just did. And this is a real easy way to fade, in my opinion. We did that once again, so we do not get harsh lines. So now I'm coming in with a number 3, and I'm going right off the ridge with that number 3 to just kind of knock down some of that bulk. We'll come back later and clean that up. Now I'm going to a 2.5 guard. We're going to do a fade down technique, and with this it's a 2 open, and it's fading right into that number 3. So we're just dropping a little bit lower from where we did the 3. Now I'm doing a 2 closed, and we're going to drop a little bit lower and just blend right into that 2.5 guard. As you know, the fade down technique is my favorite way to fade. I don't show it a lot simply because I know some people learn better with just different steps or fading from the bottom to the top, but I prefer to work my way from the top to the bottom after creating that first initial guideline that we created. Now I jumped in with the number 1 open first, and I realized I did not want to do that. I needed to do a 1.5, so I have the 1.5 open, blended right into the number 2, just closed that 1.5. Now I'm dropping a little bit lower, blending into that 1.5 that was open with the 1.5 closed. Now I'm coming back with the number 1 open, and now we'll go ahead and blend into that. As you can see, whenever I skipped that 1.5 guard and went right into the number 1 open, it left a pretty significant line. So that's why I jumped back to the 1.5 guard. So now I'm closing the number 1 and just moving right underneath where I did the 1 open, and that's a fade down technique. You just simply keep dropping a little bit lower, blending into that previous guard. Now I'm coming in with the 0 guard open. I'm using my purple magnetic guards, and we're just going to blend right into that number 1 closed. And as you can see, I always start a little bit lower, almost down by that line, and just work my way up into that previous guard. Then we're going to go ahead and close that number or that 0 guard in just a minute, and we're going to start real low by the line. Watch, boom, and now we're just going to blend right into that. I know that that's not going to take the line out, but I like to start a little bit lower and just working my way into that 0 open or whatever the previous guard was. We just keep dropping a little bit lower and work our way into that. And of course, I'm speeding this video up just so you guys can see the whole cut. If not, it would take some time. So I'm coming in with the corners of my 0 guard with it closed, just kind of hitting some dark spots and coming at different angles, trying to do that. And there again, I'm not trying to make it perfect. You guys know I like to lay the foundation first, and then we'll come in and tighten everything up in the middle and the end. Now I went right back to my 0 guard open, or excuse me, my no guard 0, just the blade. There you go. I came back in with the blade open, and I'm just trying to tie those together, and it will look a little patchy at first, and that's okay because I know that I can come back and fix it. All right, now I'm just trying to get my levels situated, so we're still working with that open blade, and then I'll close it halfway and drop a little lower, and then close it all the way and drop a little lower until I pretty much take the line out. And then we'll come in with the Babyliss trimmers, and we'll just clean up that bottom hair whenever it's time. So I'm jumping right back into my number 1 open, and I start with it open just to try to knock down some of that bulk. If it doesn't hit the hair, then I'll close it, or I'll drop to a lower guard, you know, until I get the desired length I'm looking for. But it was looking really patchy and bulky right above that line, so I'm just getting in there and working it, you know, just continue to try to knock out different spots. And sometimes you got to go over spots a few times to try to get them out. And if they still don't come out, go to a lower guard and continue to work on it again. So there again, just with that one open, one closed, just going back and forth, trying to knock out the dark spots and just kind of get it to blend a little bit better. Sometimes you will create a little bit more of a line. He's got really coarse hair, so it is a difficult texture to do, so it does take a little bit of time. But I dropped to the 0 guard again with it open and just trying to tie all this together. It's usually not this difficult, but today his hair is being a little challenging. And the reality is, man, I don't want to show you just all the very easy videos, you know, with no difficulties or no problems. I want you to see the process, and that we all struggle at times to, you know, and it takes a little bit longer to keep working at something to make sure that we get it. So I just keep on working, and if I see dark spots, I come in with the corner of my guard and I just tap at them, man. So I just keep on working away just to try to tie all these together. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and put the front edge up on it. I know that it ain't done yet, but at least it gives me a picture of what we're looking at. He has a lower front C-cup area, so he doesn't like it that low, so we actually knocked off quite a bit to kind of give it more of a shorter looking you know, corner there, so that way it doesn't look like it's all the way down by his eyebrow. So, and some people might say, you taking that back or whatever. I don't care what people say, man. At the end of the day, I want the customer to be happy. If he wants his vertical bar to be a little shorter, I'm gonna give it to him regardless of what everyone says on YouTube and Instagram, because there again, we're not living to please everybody else. We're trying to please our customer. And now obviously I'm coming in with this trimmers and just cleaning up those loose hairs, and then I just kind of flick it right into that bald line that I created earlier with my 1919s. Now I'm going in with the shaver, and we just hit real low right under that trimmer line, and we just flick right into it. That way we don't have a line to try to race, you know what I mean? If we don't put in a guideline at first with your trimmer, you're not fighting to take it out, you just keep flicking right into it. So now you guys know I like to do some shear over comb stuff, and I'll just come in and tap those dark spots that I see that are getting on my nerves. Come on. And I'll just keep tapping at them until I can knock those dark spots down. A little bit later I'll come in with thinning shears and really tie it all together, so stay tuned for that. So now we're just going through the same process in the back. I go ahead with the open blade, then I'll close it halfway, and then I'll close it all the way, and just constantly dropping down each time until it's bald, and then I'll grab my trimmers, and there we go. Just kind of shave that bottom hair off, just flicking into that bald line that we just created with the 1919s. There again, ain't got to worry about any harsh lines. Just come in with the shaver, drop a little bit lower, and just shave it. That easy. Now we're going to jump right back into the 3, being the bottom's taken care of, and we're going to clean it up with a 3. Now I'm doing a 2 open, blending right into that number 3, just dropping down a little bit. And I'll use bigger panels toward the back because we're doing more of a drop fade in the back, so I'm stretching it out a little bit more. So now that I closed the number 2, now I'm going with a 1.5 open, now 1.5 closed, and I just work the same process, just trying to get my levels right, you know, tie it all together, and then we'll come back later and do more detail work. So now I'm doing the 1 open, dropping lower, and then I'll close it, and we'll go ahead and, you know, drop a little bit lower and keep on fading. So this fade down technique, once again, for me, it's just my favorite. And make sure you hit those corners there of where the back ties to the side. You want to keep an eye on those to make sure it all blends together well. But now I'm going with my 0 guard open, and then I'll close it a little bit, drop a little bit lower. If you notice me going a little higher than you think that I should with the 0 or with the 1, whatever guard, if you're saying, man, he's going higher than, you know, his panels or his guidelines, it's because sometimes the hair is darker, and even if you went over it with the guard that you were supposed to, it still looks patchy. So I'll just go up a little bit higher and flick at those dark spots with a shorter guard, so that it just it blends better. So now once again we created our first guideline with the open blade, and if you use something to create a line, you come back and take it out with that same one. And I just touched that up in the back a little bit more, but for sake of time we got to get moving. I wanted you to see all sides and how I do it. So there again, same thing, just laying my first guy down with my zero or my blade open, closing it halfway, dropping a little bit lower, then I'll close it all the way and knock that line out on the bottom. Come back in with my trimmers and shave that off, and then shave it with the shavers. Simple process. Sometimes I might not shave that at first. I just go ahead and jump right into the long hair, knowing I'll come back and hit that later. So now, because we're doing a part and kind of a comb over on this side, instead of doing the 3, I just went ahead and did a 2.5 because we want to make it a little bit closer. And I just tie that 2.5, kind of float it into that 3 in the back there to blend it all in. So then I do a 2 closed and just drop down a little bit more and tie that 2 closed into that 2 open that we just did. And then, you know, I do a 1.5 open, 1.5 closed. Now I'm doing the 1 open, and then we'll do the 1 closed. And I'm just skipping some parts, man, because you already seen the process, but I'm just showing you that, you know, it takes some time, and if you work the system though and you keep doing it, you get better. And yeah, so now we're going to the 0 open, and then once again we'll drop a little bit lower here in a moment, and we'll do the 0 closed. And if you see dark spots, hit them jokers with the corner of your clipper, just knock them out. So now going with the blade open again and just working at those dark spots. If I see a line that I created or something like that, I'll tap it, you know, with the corner of the blade, or I come back in like I'm doing now with that 0 guard, and you know, just keep working at knocking the lines out. Now where I was just working in that indentation that's kind of behind the ear back there, sometimes you just have to go shorter in those areas to make it all look like it flows together. So we're cleaning up the front line, just putting a picture frame on this so we can actually see what the blend's looking like. Sometimes the blend is looking pretty decent, and once you frame it up with an edge, then you look at it and you're like, crap. Here's a little tip for you guys that are cutting hair during quarantine, or, you know, with the mask. I just tell them, put your finger right here and hold your mask, and then I just pull that down, clean it up, you know, with my trimmers over the ear, and then I'll come in and shave, and you know, I just let them hold their mask, pop that down, and then we just pop it right back on and just keep on moving. I could have told them to put it on now, but I guess I forgot. But anyways, we'll put it back on in a second. There you go. So now we're going to come in and create that hard part. So what I'm doing here is I'm just pulling all that hair over, and I come in this direction first to create my line, and I'm just kind of lightly tapping, getting, you know, the line cut in there, but I'll come back in and clean it up once I flip my trimmer over, which you'll see in just a moment. Now to get that line nice and straight, nice and just popping, you want to flip it over and come down at it from that angle. And so I'm coming down, just making that line real nice, but also hitting loose hairs that may be popping out. And I'll just continue to comb up to knock those hairs up so I can cut them off. So now you wanted a number 6 on top, so we just, you know, doing that number 6, cleaning up underneath the hairline there, just making sure that that front line's nice and straight. Once I line them up on the front, then I can come all the way back across to the part I lined up earlier, just to make sure that it's tied in nice and straight. Throwing a little bit of gel in there just to see how it's laying. Clean up any of the loose hairs. Now this is that bulk I was talking about. We're doing some shear over comb work, just knocking down some of that bulk. That's why we did the 3 first. So we just did that 3 right into that number 6. And now I come in with my thinning shears to do some final detail work and knock down some of that bulk. Throw a little color enhancement on you know, his lineup here. get it looking sharp. And I also like to do color on the part area just because I like it to just to pop. And while we're at it, throw a little bit in the fade, being we want to cover up some of that skin. You know, like I've told you before, hair is patchy. You got little skin spots. Just throw a little color in there too. It just makes it blend more. Some people hate on it, but once again, I don't care. I like what Perez says. Doesn't matter what they think, right? So anyways, come in with the razor, clean everything up real nice. Once again, I'll give them a spin around and kind of look, and I just come in with my thinning shears in that fade, and I just start tapping at spots that I see. As y'all can see, there's dark spots and there's some bulk. So I just get in there with my thinning shears, and if it's too short to hit with my comb, I just move the comb, lay the thinning shears on the head, and I just use the tips of my thinning shears to just kind of knock those dark spots out, like right there. And see, there's a dark spot there. I'm just going to keep on tapping at it. I don't want to just tap, 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 tap. You know, I want to tap, look, tap, look. And if it's still dark, I'll hit it again. But I do not want to, you know, create any holes, which with thinning shears, you really, not that you can't, but it's a lot harder to knock holes. So as you can see, just spinning them around, things starting to look pretty blurry. It's coming together. Just still going in with my thinning shears, hitting any dark spots that I see. As you know, sometimes I use my shears to do it as well, but it is easier with the thinning shears. So I just, you know, keep tapping until I see it. You know, looks like it's starting to come together. But I'm a perfectionist, so I'll just keep on. Even after the video, when he probably goes to get up, I'm like, hold on, sit down, let me hit something else. That's just my personality. But whew, things starting to get blurry. But you know, there's little spots there, that right in that area there's a big dark spot right there somewhere. So we're just gonna, there it is, come on, we're just gonna hit at that a little bit. And as you see, I keep turning the chair because I want to look from different angles. But hey guys, that's pretty much it, man. I hope you liked it. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, say what's up to your boy, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace. God bless you.